give it space. Sometimes you even need to prune with measure. But there's a lot of parallels. And he loves plants, and he had a goal. He wanted to grow a lemon tree. And he read up about it, and he studied it, and he spoke to people who know the topic well. And he wanted to go through the physical and the spiritual process. There was both sides to it for him in growing a lemon tree. And he started, and however he did it with his seed, and he managed to get this thing going. And the person he consulted with said to him, "You should know where you live in Braun, it's not the perfect place for a lemon tree. There's other trees that grow well there. You can even try vines, and you can try olives. It grows well there. But lemons, not so much. Lemons prefer more of either the coastal or humid climate where the citrus plants are." And he says, no, he's going to try. He'll make the environment for it. He'll look after it. He'll protect it in winter from the snow and the frosts. And he'll do his bit to make sure that this plant gets its best chance. And it grew. The plant grew, and it turned into a little plant, and it grew into a little tree and into a bigger tree. And it even started after a few years producing fruit. He was bowled over. He was so excited with his achievement, and it really was an achievement. And he drew the spiritual parallels, and he made it into one world, and he could see how it was applicable in every phase of his life. But at the same time, he says one of the biggest lessons only came to him a few years later. He still got this plant, and he keeps it for this reason. He went down to the orchards on the coastal plains, and he looked at the lemon trees there. And boy, were they different. Massive trees, tons of leaves, these huge succulent lemons with delicious taste. The lemons down there were thriving, and his lemon was surviving. That was the biggest difference. And what was his lesson? Place is very, very important. You can grow a lemon tree seemingly wherever you want. You can create an environment, as artificial as it may be, but you can create an environment for the lemon tree to grow, and it will even produce fruit. But that's not the ideal place to grow lemon trees. There's an ideal place for lemon trees, which is down in the citrus areas. And his parallel was straight to the Jewish nation and the Golos that we've been in. Jews were scattered after the Churban all over the world, literally all over the world. And as determined people, as a stiff-necked people, as people that have this eternal burning flame in us that can't be extinguished, we always try to reconnect to God, to build, to grow, to preserve, to make something out of where we are. And we, as Olim, need to appreciate that all of those efforts were tremendous efforts. I think from a certain viewpoint, efforts that were way beyond the efforts that would be required in our natural growing space. And for that, we need to be thankful to the generations before. And we were grown. The communities are coming back to Yiddishkeit. I know in South Africa we got to grow up in it. There's very strong Baal Tshuva movements and strong learning and strong connection to our roots. It all ties in, you see. And all over the world, whether it's America or England or Australia, the Anglo communities and Brazil and everywhere, the lemon trees or the Jewish communities were being nurtured and grown into tremendously powerful things. You see the Torah that came out of Europe, where would we be without it? But now is the time where all of these different elements, these different trees, so to speak, and communities that have been growing around the world are coming back slowly, sometimes not so slowly, to their ideal place. And this is Eretz Yisrael for us. This is the ideal place where a Yid can prosper and grow and achieve the highest levels of their potential. Please God, I always like to finish with a bracha. We should all self-actualize. We should use the world around us to grow, to better ourselves, to appreciate everything around us, to realize it's one world. There's no contradictions here. There's not spiritual and physical. It's all the same. Use the physical. It's the only way to grow. Through the physical, we should achieve our highest possible potentials. Thank you. I'm open to questions. You're more than welcome. Yes.
First of all, it's an amazing talk you gave. I'm reminded of a certain part of the Physicality area that you're supposed to actually say when you fly in a plane.
Right.
In Esak Shamayim Sham Ata. If I go up to the heaven, you are there.
Right.
Of course, the word Esak and Masok
yes.
are connected and related.
Nice.
But my question though is, do you have an issue, or is there an issue about flying over the Harabayits if your route takes you down to Eilat from say Tel Aviv or wherever, because of Kohanim being on the plane?
Right.
Up till what point does the problem of Tum'ah?
Excellent question. I'm not an expert in Tum'ah, but from what I know, I have also investigated, and there's a brilliant solution to it. The Tum'ah goes up indefinitely the whole way, and you're not protected from that even though the airplane's a closed space, so that would be a problem. The solution is the Israeli bureaucracy, which nothing gets past. And for that, there's a forbidden area around Harabayit, 1 nautical mile radius, or a little bit less, where no aircraft gets to fly over. So we protect it. So there's an answer to that.
It's a red zone.
It's a red zone, yeah. You're not allowed to go in there. One of the many in Israel, by the way. But yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
My question is, do you say Tefillah Haderech and when?
So yeah, according to the halachas of Tfilas Haderech, the shittas that we follow, 4 kilometers pretty much out of city limits is already where you need to say it. In aerobatics, it was 12 seconds to do 1 kilometer. In the plane I fly now, it's about 8 seconds. A little bit quicker. Yeah, we do Tfilas Haderech on every flight. I actually do it on my way to the airport. There's an area that I go through that's out of that. So yeah, Tfilat Haderech, yes. I used to do Birkat HaGomel pretty much after every flight over the sea, until I got a psak from a Rav, there's a posek in Yerushalayim, in the old city, who said, listen, you're doing this every single day. And we went through, it's a nice topic on its own to go through the Birkat HaGomel, but personally now, I don't say it. But yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
How have you managed in your life to achieve the balance where I love your idea of the two are, it's really one world.
Yeah.
But where you could be doing another aerobatics course, or you
Right.
could be flying to Sydney, Australia,
Yeah.
There'd be a promotion to
Right.
go super long haul flights. We say, wow, I've got this great opportunity, but you know that you're going to be sacrificing all the where you feel you're giving up on Torah values.
So in classic Jewish style, for me, the answer lies in the question right at the beginning, that word balance. Back to stories and imagination, where do we imagine balancing, either on a tightrope or as a kid on a long beam in a park? It requires attention, it requires focus, you need to think, you need to weigh things up. It's not something to be taken lightly. So I think that's one of our unique things as Yidden. We encourage to weigh things up. What's the benefit? What's pros and cons? Balancing is where it comes in. So to answer your specific question, if it had to be like that, in my personal space, the aerobatics, I didn't get into it on purpose, like I said, but it presented itself as an opportunity. I looked, what could it be doing? And I saw, eventually it came out. I did stop though. Afterwards, I reached a certain level where I felt that I got out of it what I needed or what I could, and that became a point to stop. I'm not that righteous that the decision was entirely my own. It clicked on for me one Sunday morning very early. There I was on my way to a competition, moving up to the next level, and I got in the plane and it wouldn't start. The battery was flat. So we trained really hard as observant Jews. When something like that happens, as much as you want to shout, you go gamzulato. And you start thinking, okay, this is for the good. What's going on here? Let's think, okay, new, maybe not supposed to be. And straight away you jump out and you call your friends, bring a battery, let's work out a solution, and try and make it happen. And it didn't work, and eventually I missed the competition. And for me, that's pretty much how Hashem guided me out of it. And that's how I see it. So yes, it comes from our own space, but it wouldn't happen without God's guidance. And we need to have eyes open to that as well. On the other side, you mentioned like long haul flying. I'm very blessed that the kind of flying I'm doing now, pretty much sleep at home every night, unless it's a flight through the night, but then even then I don't sleep out. All my flights are short. Thank God the plane hasn't got such big fuel tanks, and please God they keep me on this fleet. It's 4 hours pretty much max, sometimes 5, and then we come home. And that balance works out very well with family life and with young kids at home. and keeping a Torah routine. Sure, flying has got its challenges. This morning I was up at 2:30, and I had to be at work before. It doesn't allow davening exactly in time with your talis and tefillin in a minyan as ideally you'd want, but that's the workspace, and halacha provides space for that. There's a whole, the Gemara's going into the tefillahs that one can do. We don't exactly follow it nowadays, but the Gemara speaks about the shortened Shemona Esrei for someone who's on a journey and what parts to leave out. You see how the Torah was the blueprint, how our worldly existence then fits into the Torah. It's not that we need to make the Torah fit into our space. Everything that's here fits in there. So there are ways to accommodate and to balance. I hope that answers. Any other questions?